Hi, I'm Pam Fox. Thank you for watching my channel. So I am so very excited today. I am doing my first response video, and this response video goes to Kalua. Kalua wrote a comment on my video about my chronic belching and hiatal hernia and how I have successfully managed those. And she too has a hiatal hernia. And she said she's going to go vegan immediately. So congratulations, Kalua, on starting out this vegan journey. I hope that you will become vegan for life and you'll experience all kinds of healing over the course of the next few months. And I have a lot to say to you. And so this response video goes out to you, Kalua. And I'm going to try to keep it within the time frame, but if not, I'll just do a part 2 because I have some articles of encouragement that I need to send your way. I want to be here for you. That's why I have this channel, and I want to do what I can to encourage you and to help you stay on track. So number 1 is the breathing and the self-manipulation techniques that I talked about in my video for treating the hiatal hernia to manage the symptoms of burping, indigestion, acid reflux. I just want to remind you that when I started doing those techniques, it took me about a week and a half to 2 weeks before I started to really notice relief. It didn't happen immediately for me. Now, for some people, it does happen immediately, the relief. But for me, it took some practice. There was a learning curve, and I want to tell you kind of what I learned through that learning curve. So the best thing I can recommend is to lay down on your back when you do the self-manipulation and breathing techniques. You don't have to, but in the evening, if you can lay down on your bed or on the floor, it doesn't matter, the couch, but lie down on your back. And if you can wear like a camisole or something silky so you can slide your fingers over your abdomen, that's helpful. And like I said in my video, your stomach is just below the rib cage and to the left of the sternum. You don't have to press hard. You don't have to press deep. You just need to apply pressure with your fingers inward and kind of downward towards your feet. And that will pull the stomach, pull the connective tissues downward to try to give you some relief from that herniated position of your stomach coming upward through the diaphragm. Like this, I talked about that in my last video. This representing the stomach, this representing the diaphragm, and the stomach, the hernia is when the stomach comes up through that hiatus. So by lying down on your bed and relaxing and deep breathing, that will cause the organs in the stomach to relax and come down. And through the deep breathing, specifically the exhale, it's that exhale when the diaphragm comes up and that separation occurs, and that's when you're going to get relief from your symptoms, because it's the herniated position that's causing that one-way valve to become compromised. So this is what we want, is that separation. And I talk about the vibration that you hear and feel in the back of your neck when you breathe. And all that does is when you're deep breathing and you're having that kind of a vibration, like almost like you're snoring, all that does is creates a more laborious breathing, which means your diaphragm is going to work a little bit harder because you're creating a more laborious breathing. And so that's all that is. So remember to be patient when it comes to these techniques. Don't give up on them. Do them every day. And if you don't get any relief right away, don't quit. Keep continuing. It takes some time to Honestly, it takes time to discover the right place to press. Maybe you'll hit it the first time. It takes some time to discover the reaction of your body. I made a comment to you this morning. I discovered that when I hear and feel some gurgling in my stomach, that I'm hitting the right spot. And I will feel a sensation of that relief from that feeling of indigestion when I'm hitting the right spot. So listen and feel for that gurgling. If you're not hitting it and you're not feeling it, don't get frustrated with yourself and don't give up, because stress triggers the hiatal hernia too. And that's something I'm going to talk about. But the second thing I want to encourage you is you're starting a vegan adventure, hopefully, as you said in your comment. And so, oh my gosh, I'm just sending so much encouragement to you. It can be a challenge in the beginning. And so I want to encourage you to, if you haven't already, look up I'm going to recommend you look up the Starch Solution. You can buy the book, or you can get all of Dr. McDougall's information on his website. The Starch Solution is great. Savvy Menke's new diet on her YouTube channel that's called Earthling Nutrition. She's been putting out tons of videos about a high-carb, low-fat vegan diet, very similar to the Starch Solution, except that she has some recommendations about when to eat and when to exercise and how to combine foods so that you're optimizing fat loss. So if you're wanting to lose fat on a vegan diet, check out her channel. But if you simply want to go vegan for healing, I believe the Starch Solution is a great way to do it because it's a very practical vegan diet. All of the information is on Dr. McDougall's website. All of the testimonies are on there. There's recipes on there. There's lectures. It's a great source of support for starting a vegan diet. So those are a couple of things you can check out. But my biggest tip for you when you're starting a vegan diet is to eat. So, of course, I'm recommending that you go on a high-carb, low-fat vegan diet, which means you're going to be eating a wide variety of plants, of grains. If you can't do gluten, some people have a difficult time digesting gluten, so you may have to stay away from that. But there's rice, white rice, brown rice, amaranth, quinoa. There's all kinds of pastas that you can have that are gluten-free, and they're delicious. I don't really care for some of the gluten-free breads, but you can get sprouted bread that has gluten in it. It just depends on what you can do. But there's corn. If you can do corn tortillas, corn, you can do all kinds of things with Mexican food. Rice and vegetables, rice and curried vegetables. I hope you like curry. I love it. But the key is to eat. So remember, I say this a lot. When you're meeting your caloric needs on a high-carb, low-fat vegan diet, you are meeting your nutrient needs. And when you meet your caloric needs, you meet your nutrient needs, and you're stretching those stretch receptors in your abdomen, you are going to achieve honest and sincere satiation. And you will no longer crave junk foods, animal foods. That is the beauty of being on this diet. Especially in the first 60 days, you want to push yourself. I was shooting for 2,500 calories a day. I got on Chronometer and I made sure I was counting my calories in that first 60 days to make sure that I was getting in enough calories. I don't know that you have to do that. As long as you're eating 3 meals a day, you're eating till satiation. If you get hungry, you eat again, and you make sure that you're really filling up on good quality, high carb, low fat foods. Don't cook with oils. Eliminate the oils in that first 60 days. I don't cook with any oils. Occasionally, if I'm eating out, it's hard to avoid, but for 95% of the time, I don't cook with oils. And if you want to know why, I'll try to post a link to Dr. Esselstyn, who promotes a diet without any oils, and I think Dr. John McDougall does as well. So if you read his book Starch Solution, you can learn about the dangers of oils and why there's really nothing in them that's good for us. And I know people will say that olive oil is good and coconut oil is good, but you need to do your research on your oils, and hopefully you'll go the low oil path and get your healthy fats from your plants. Particularly avocado, which I love. Nuts and seeds are higher in fat. So if you incorporate those in, you're going to get plenty of healthy fats, and they're very satiating as well. So I give you encouragement on your vegan path, but you want to make sure you're doing it so that you're filling up, because if you're hungry, you're going to revert back to your old ways of eating. So, and it's that supporting your immune system, which I talked about. All of a sudden you're eliminating animal foods, you're eliminating junk foods, which means you're eliminating toxicity and inflammation in the body, which inhibits your immune system. And now you're pumping your body full of fiber and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants from all these wonderful plants, and you're getting your carbs, and you're getting your protein, and you're getting your fat, and you're getting your water and your fiber and everything you need. And that is going to support your immune system. So whatever is wrong within your body, now your immune system can start doing its job, starting possibly with your hiatal hernia. And I want to talk about something I touched on briefly in my video about hiatal hernia when I talked about that pop that I heard and felt right at my hernia. So that particular day I was having a lot of discomfort and actual pain at the site of my hiatal hernia, which had never happened before. And Dwayne and I went to a Bible study that night, and the pain was getting worse and worse. I had to excuse myself about 10 minutes into the class. I went to the bathroom and I reached my hands up high, trying to give myself a stretch. And I heard and felt a pop and got relief from this pain that I was suffering from all day. And what I believe happened was, since, I'd been doing these techniques and on the vegan lifestyle, my body was, finding things wrong within it and starting to heal them. I think what happened was that hernia, where the hole in the hiatus has become enlarged or stretched or torn or whatever happens, began to shrink back down and tighten up like it's supposed to keep that stomach underneath the way it's supposed to. So that hole tightened down and it strangulated my hernia, which can be life-threatening. But I was able to release it just by raising my arms up. And so I believe that healing, that's when I realized that healing was taking place. I wasn't just managing my symptoms, but healing was taking place at the site, because that was shrinking down and strangulating that hernia. This is my theory anyway. And so over the course of the next couple of weeks, I talked about having that super ball under my pantyhose, applying pressure all day long on my hernia. And the symptoms just went away more so and more so and more so. And every day after that day at Bible study, I would get in the shower. You can tell I'm excited about this. And I would reach up to wash my hands, and I would feel I didn't hear and feel a pop again, just that one time, but I would feel a twinge, like a pain, and then relief. And if I tried to create it again, I couldn't. It just would happen once. So again, that hole, that hiatus was tightening down, and I would raise my arms up and it would pull away. And then as that hole began to tighten more so and more so, my symptoms just kept going away and going away, to the point where I rarely would have any burping, no acid reflux, no indigestion. And when I did have burping, it was mild and very infrequent, almost to the point where I could say, that my hernia had been healed. Now, with that said, I had a bicycle accident about almost 3 weeks ago. And as soon as I got up and brushed myself off from the accident, I had multiple injuries. I broke my collarbone. I was in a lot of pain. I started burping immediately. So I'm going to post another article that I found very helpful, all about hiatal hernias. And I don't know anything about the guy who wrote this article, but I just know that everything he says in the article rings so true to me. For example, he talks about stress being a trigger for hiatal hernia. And I know certain foods were a trigger for my hiatal hernia as well. But stress, when I had my accident, I started burping immediately. I had an accident a couple months before that. Same thing. I noticed I wasn't burping at all, and then I started burping immediately. So this man talks about the solar plexus, and he talks about stress, and he gives some further methods that you can try to treat your hiatal hernia. What else? I made notes because I didn't want to forget anything. Okay, so the third thing I want to encourage you about is to not disregard my tip about cotton. I told you that I would put sterile cotton up my nostrils. And again, all this does is create a more laborious breathing. So the cotton is to the diaphragm what a hand weight in the hand would be to a bicep curl. It's like resistance training for your diaphragm. It makes you breathe more laboriously. And so I found with the cotton that I would breathe with the cotton in my nose and just breathe normally. I wouldn't even do the deep breathing techniques. And the burping symptoms would subside. And so now that I'm on painkillers, that has been triggering my hiatal hernia, unfortunately. And the burping has come back since I've been on these painkillers. And so I can still manage it with the self-manipulation and the deep breathing. But in the evening, when I don't want to worry about all that, I just lay down on my bed and I put sterile cotton in my nose and just breathe normally and read a book or watch TV, and the burping subsides. So that's another trick that you shouldn't disregard. You should try that one. But I've only got a few seconds left. Good luck to you. Post any questions that you have. I want to be here to support you. And good luck to you. Let's stay in touch.